Everybody, today I'm going to teach you how to get started crocheting if you have this kit. If you don't have this kit, but you know someone who knows how to crochet, you can ask them to chain about 15 stitches and then complete a couple of loose rows for you, but then leave one incomplete. So I'm going to use this one because I think it'll show up better on the video. This is what you have when you get started. And I want you to know we're not really making a specific project. Like, this isn't going to turn out to be something that you use. This is just a practice square. I'm working with a 5.5 millimeter hook. This is a size 4 or worsted yarn, and for beginners I like to use a size 5.5 or 6.5 millimeter hook. Sometimes they have there's a letter, but don't worry about that. The hook that I have given you goes with the yarn that you have. So I want you to orient your yarn this way. This is your working yarn. So that's the yarn we're going to be pulling into our project. It needs to be at the back. This is the front of our project. And you're always going to start over here and go this way. So I want to make sure that you have the taller row right here, and we're going to work this way. Now, what I've done is you have the starting chain here, and then we have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and a little bit of the next row. So you're going to pick it up, and people hold their hooks a lot of different ways, but I hold mine kind of like a pencil, and I like to hold it right where this indentation is. You are going to give yourself a little bit of space here. You're only on 1 loop, and you're going to find the next hole. If you pull up on this, you see that we stitched in that hole. So we're looking for the next hole. You can also find them by turning it upward and looking for all of these little V's. We made those with our last row of stitches, so let's get started. I know it might look a little difficult, but I think you can do it. Just follow along. And if it's a lot for your brain at first, that's okay. You can just watch, and you can always rewind and try it after you watch it. I'm gonna take, and I want my hook facing down, I'm gonna take the tip of this hook and I'm gonna go right through this hole. And then I wanna grab this yarn that's back here and bring it through exactly the same hole. That way I have 2 loops on my hook. Now, what I wanna do is stitch these hooks together. So I'm gonna come from underneath here, I'm gonna yarn over, and I'm going to turn my hook a little bit downward as I pull through those 2 loops. And my friends, that is a crochet stitch. And we're going to continue to do the same thing all the way across this row. So I'm going to find the next hole. I'm going to go in, bring this yarn through, pull it up. Now you don't want to be super big, and you also don't want to be super tight, because when you are super tight like that, it's going to be hard to get your hook through, and that's going to make your next row kind of impossible. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to turn that hook downward and pull through these 2. Same thing, we're going to go in this hole, find our yarn, bring it back through the same hole, yarn over, hook down, pull through 2. In the hole, pull our yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now, everyone holds their hands a little bit differently, so you're just kind of have to figure it out. I like to use my like pinky, ring, and thumb to hold the yarn, and then I use my index finger and my ring finger to pull the yarn to keep tension on this yarn, because we need a little tension there. So this will take a while, just keep working. In the hole, pull the yarn back through the hole, yarn over, and pull through 2. In the next hole, yarn through, yarn over, and pull through 2. In the hole, bring that yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through 2. I also like to think of it sometimes like we're going in, this little stitch is lonely, so it needs a friend, it needs a BFF. I'm gonna go in this and I'm gonna find that friend and I'm gonna bring it back through. Yay, we're friends. And then this person's gonna come and they say, y'all look like BFFs, let's stitch you together. So we got our 2 friends, we stitched them together. Oh, but now this friend wants a BFF. So we're gonna go in the hole, bring this friend back through, and now we have our 2 friends, yarn over, stitch them together. In the hole, find that friend and pull it back through the same hole, yarn over, and stitch our friends together. You can see that it's forming a little V right here, and we like that. That's exactly what we want to do. So let's go through, bring the yarn back through, yarn over, and stitch our 2 friends together. If you're getting caught, like if you're getting caught in the yarn when you pull through, make sure that you're pointing that hook downward. So again, find our hole, bring that yarn back through, yarn over, and stitch our 2 friends together. Now, how do you know when you're hitting the end? Well, that can be complicated, but the way I do it is if you hold this up and you look, you can often see a V, and then you see this line that goes this way. That is called our turning chain, and I'll show you in just a moment how we make that. But you're gonna look for this, and that's where you stop. So you still have 1 more stitch left here. So it can get a little iffy over here. So I'm gonna go under that V, bring my yarn back through. I have my 2 friends, yarn over, and pull up. So I've completed all of the stitches in this row. Now what we need to do is turn, and we're always going to turn this way so that our working yarn stays in the back, and then you can see your next hole right here. We're just going to start and we're going to do the same thing down this row. However, to make it easy for us, we're going to add a turning chain, and that just means before you ever start, you're going to yarn over and pull through this loop. That's our turning chain right there, and it gives us a little more wiggle space to go into this hole. So we're going to find our first hole, we're going in, bring that yarn back through, yarn over, and pull up. So that's our first stitch. And now you're going to look and you're going to keep finding the next hole. So our next hole is here. And we're going to go in, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our 2 friends together. In the hole, bring that yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our 2 friends together. In the hole, yarn back through the hole, yarn over, and stitch our 2 friends together. Through the hole, pull our yarn back through, yarn over, hook down, stitch those 2 friends together. And you can see how it's kind of loose, it's not super tight. There may be projects in your future where you need to work super duper high tension, but as a starter, I would like for you to work on doing this with a loose tension. That way, it's going to be easier for you to see your next stitch that you need to go into, and far less frustrating for you. All right, so we're going to go in the hole, find our friend, bring it back through that same hole, yarn over, hook down, and pull through those 2. You may find that you like to work directions with this hand, or if you just want to kind of hold it with this hand, you can go through, you can use this hand to do all of your work. You can kind of pull with this hand. So you could leave this hand totally still and still be able to crochet. For people who perhaps don't have the use of one hand, if you have some sort of an apparatus that can hold your hook, you may be able to do some crochet. All right, so we're going to continue in the hole, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our 2 friends together. in the hole, yarn over, bring that yarn back through, stitch our two friends together. Through the hole, bring the yarn back through, yarn over, pull our two friends together. In the hole, bring our friend back through, yarn over, and stitch those two together. If you're finding, like, sometimes your yarn will get unstrung like this, and you get sort of caught up on it and it's too hard to pull through, just undo a stitch, kind of pull a couple of stitches out, put your hook back in, look at the direction the yarn is twisting, and twist it a little tighter and kind of pull down, and that can help get the strands of your yarn back together, because that's really frustrating when you keep getting stuck. So we're going to go in the hole, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our two friends together. In the hole, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our two friends together. In the hole, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch our two friends together. Now we're getting toward the end, so we should be able to see that we just have one stitch left. But if you can't, turn it upright, and remember, we're gonna look, we have a V here, and then we have this horizontal piece here, and that's how we know that was our turning chain. And this is what happens if you get a tight tension. You're gonna have trouble getting in that hole, and you have to kind of really push. But I like to bring the wide part through and kind of pull up to make that hole bigger. See how that works? Then you can see it. All right, so we're going in, we're gonna bring our yarn back through, yarn over, pull through these two, and it's kind of weird and unravelly here, so I'm gonna make sure my point is down so I can get it up through there. That was my last one. So now we're gonna do our turning chain. So that you just yarn over and you simply pull it through that loop. And then we're going to rotate, make sure our working yarn is at the back, and we're going to turn again. And we're always working from here to here. So easy peasy, we're going to go in here, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, and there's our first stitch, my friends. So in, bring that back through, yarn over, stitch those two friends together. In the hole, bring the yarn back through, yarn over, stitch the friends together. Into the hole, bring the yarn back through, yarn over, and stitch our friends together. I'm going to work without telling you what I'm doing here for a moment, and we'll see how you're doing without the every single stitch instructions. At the beginning, don't worry about your speed. You can go as slowly as you need to, because I think it's more important to get these foundational steps right in the beginning so that you know what you're doing as you start working. There will come a point when it just clicks in your brain and it makes so much sense, but it's okay if that has not happened yet. It becomes very rhythmic, and that's when crochet can become very relaxing. But at the beginning, it can definitely be a little frustrating. I know sometimes you see people working so quickly, but it's not a contest. You want to do this in a way that relaxes you and feels nice for your brain. All right, so I'm back to my last stitch, and the way I know that is I'm going to turn this upright, and I see my V, and then I see this lone stitch here, so that was my turning chain. So I'm going to go in here, bring my yarn back through, yarn over, stitch those two friends together, yarn over, and pull through that loop, and then I'm going to rotate again. And as we're rotating, you can see that the front of a stitch looks like this. The front of a stitch has, or the back of a stitch has the little V's like this. So we can see the bar that goes across and then V's and then the bars. So this is how we can count rows. If you're trying to count how many rows you've done, this was our chain, so that doesn't really count as a row, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and because the back of the row looks a little bit different than the front of the row. All right, always starting on this side. I'm going to find my yarn. I know that I already did my turning chain, I remember. And another way, if you don't remember if you did your turning chain, you've got your hole you're going into. This is the loop on the hook. This is the loop that was on our hook. So this is 1, 2. So if you are reading a pattern that says working in the second loop from your hook, that's how we know it's our turning chain. So I'm going to go in, bring my yarn back through, yarn over, stitch together, going in, back through, stitch together. So see how you're feeling about working simply at your own pace. I'll give you a little bit of peace and quiet to think in your own mind until I get to the end of this row. All right, I'm at the end. This works nicely because this yarn is variegated, so it's several different colors. But you can see this is my last stitch, and then my turning chain actually is a different color of the yarn. So it's really easy to see, but this is what you're looking for in your yarn. You don't want to crochet past that. That's the end. Get my yarn back on there. I'm going to go under that V, bring my yarn back through. Got my 2 friends, yarn over, stitch them together. And then I'm going to add my turning chain and I can turn. How are you feeling right now? I want to make sure that you don't have a lot of tension in your shoulders. Make sure you're not holding everything really tightly because that's just going to make your hands hurt. We don't want that. Try and be very loose with it and think about each step that you're taking. And it doesn't matter, a lot of times a person's first try at crochet is going to look a little bit like Swiss cheese. We don't mind. That's okay. It's better to have Swiss cheese crochet at the beginning than that very super tight crochet, because at least the Swiss cheese we can work with. The super tight crochet is really, really difficult to work with because it makes it physically impossible to do this in any sort of a relaxing way. But just continue to find your hole, bring your yarn back through it, yarn over, and stitch those 2 together. Find our hole, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, and stitch together. Go through the hole, find your yarn, bring it back through, yarn over, and stitch those together. Some people find it easier to hold your hook this way. I don't, but some people do. So they'll hold it this way and kind of go over, and it's more, holding it more like a knife and bringing it through and working that way. And that's okay. If you like to hold it that way, definitely do it the way that works the best for you. And then I'm just going to flip when I turn so that this stays in the back. And I'm go in here and I'm going to do one more row with you. And at this point, if you're not quite getting it, not quite getting the hang of it, maybe rewind back to where we started and listen to the beginning again. And I'm going to kind of show you the normal speed at which I work. It's nice to have this in a ball or in a cake or in some form. If you work right out of the skein of yarn, sometimes that can be frustrating because it might be knotted up in the middle. So I prefer not to do that if I don't have to. It's fine to do that though. All right, I'm gonna go at kind of normal Kasey speed and show you how I work when I'm just doing this in my own time. I like to do this watching TV or listening to music, listening to a book, when I am riding the train to work, when we are driving somewhere. It helps me a lot. You can probably tell that I am a nail biter from looking at this tutorial, but it helps me keep my hands busy so that I'm not picking up my nails or doing things that are little nervous habits. I like it for that reason. If I'm ever working on a very big crochet project, I have absolutely beautiful nails because I'm just working and I'm paying zero attention to wanting to make my nails even or smooth or any of that. My mind is all right here just looking for the next little hole. That's all my mind really wants to do. So my friends, that's it. That is how we do single crochet. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to start a crochet. And what's important is that you feel comfortable with making this stitch before we go get started on a whole other crochet project. Because the very first row of any crochet project is always going to be the most frustrating. Takes a little extra time, a little extra thought. All right, so it's working out well. I'm gonna pull this big so that if I put this into a bag, I don't accidentally start unraveling my whole crochet project. If you notice that your project is going in the shape of a triangle, that usually means you are not going far enough to that edge. You are not going to your last stitch. So work on that. Work on really looking for the little vertical edge of that turning chain. If you look here, you can see all of the little V's, and then you get to the end and you've got that turning chain. So that helps you know when you're at the end. And sometimes they're a little misshapen. Sometimes it's a little bigger, or sometimes it's getting bigger here. If you kind of pull like this, just smooth it out, and it seems like you have the same number of stitches, you're fine. Also, you know what? This is practice. So if it's looking weird, don't worry about it. You can always unravel it and do it again, or you can start with new yarn. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to start a brand new line of crochet. Let me grab some yarn from over here. What do we have? Let's use this purple. So I like to put my yarn into skeins like this. And you can pull from the outside, but what I like to do if I'm just sitting at a desk in one place is pull from the inside, because it's going to come up and I don't have to pull really hard, and it's going to be easy for me. The first thing we have to do to start any crochet project is to make a slip knot. There's a lot of different ways to do that. The way that I do it is I lay this yarn over my two fingers and I wrap it around to where it crosses in the back, but it doesn't cross in the front, and I kind of just hold it here. And then I'm going to take my hook down and go under the top one and pull up on the second one, and then I hold on to this little tail, and that makes a knot. And what's nice about this knot is I can adjust the size. I can make it little or I can make it big, Or if I just want to start over, I can pull it straight out and I don't have a knot in my yarn. Another way to go, if that's just too much for you, is make just a regular knot. Just double it up, take this and tie it around. Pull it through and leave yourself enough space in your knot to where you could stick a little green pea through there. But that doesn't allow you to adjust the size of the hole once you've tied that knot as easily. So I'm going to show you one more time the slip knot. So 2 fingers, make the peace sign. You're going to put your thumb and your forefinger together. You're going to wrap around to where back here it crosses over and it makes an X. But in the front it doesn't. And then you can just hold that down there. Take your hook down under the first one, pull up the second one to make, this is kind of like an A, and then you're done. Slip it off and then pull up to get your tension where you want it. This is, we call this our tail. This is the free end. We always leave this not too short. You don't want it like this short. You want to leave it 4 to 6 inches. Always leave yourself enough tail that at the end, if you need to weave it in, you can. Okay, making a chain. So this hole that we're in right now does not count as a chain. So if you were reading some pattern and it says chain 15, we aren't counting this one. We're going to go take that yarn and pull it through the hole and make another hole. That is number 1. We're going to get the yarn and we're going to bring it through that hole, and that's chain 2. So you're going to keep doing that. 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's tempting to make these really, really tight because it is somehow very satisfying to make a very, very tight chain. You don't really want to do that though, because when we go back to crochet, we're going to have to fit the head of this hook down here. So you want to leave them loose, make them nice and loose and comfy. 7, 8, 9, and if that gets a little stuck, just pull some out. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If you have lost count of your stitches, no need to worry. This isn't a very specific pattern where we need to have a specific number of holes. This is simply for practice. But if you're reading a pattern and it says chain 15 plus 1 or plus 2, so you have your 15 and then you go 1, 2 if it tells you to chain 2. And then this is our starting chain, and if you turn it and you look, yours might not be as neat as mine because you're a super beginner, and that's all right. But you're gonna look, there will be a side that looks bumpy. Those are your V's. These down here where it just looks like little U's, that's what we're gonna go into. So remember how we had our turning chain? Great. This is gonna act for the first row like our turning chain. We're gonna find this bottom loop, and that's gonna be our hole that we go into to pull our yarn back through, and we have 2 loops on the hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull right back through there, and my friends, that's our first stitch. And the stitch is right here. So as you look, you see this, that isn't your stitch. What we're counting is this little V that we just made. All right, so let's flatten back out, and we're going to try our best to always go in this little bottom loop. Now, if you're starting, it's the very beginning and you go in the wrong loop, just keep going. It's going to be fine. It's not a big deal. Okay, so that was 1, and then I'm going to go in this bottom loop here. I'm going to bring my yarn back through to where I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through. Next one, going in, bringing my yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through 2. You can see if you pull on that very first stitch and you kind of pull it up, you can see how we're starting that first row, and you're starting to see the holes you'll be going into next time. This is the most challenging part. And if you're looking at this going, impossible, Kasey, impossible. I understand. I have felt that way before. But we're going to keep trying. If you can't find your hole, just go in a hole that you see and continue across, because we can always recover from doing this kind of badly. It's okay. So I'm going to go in my hole, bring my yarn back through the same hole, yarn over, and pull through those two. It's important that we keep a very loose tension here. Make sure that you're not super stressy with your hands. Make sure that you're not crunching up your shoulders. Let yourself breathe. Remember that this is going to be something that you find to be a relaxing activity. So let's learn in a relaxing way. Keep going. Find the next hole. Go in there. Bring your yarn back through. Yarn over and pull through those two. Sometimes when I am looking at this and I'm trying to find my next hole, it almost looks like a little pretzel right here. And I'm just going in the bottom part of the pretzel. Yarn over and pull through those two. So I'm going to keep it going. Bring my yarn back through. Yarn over and pull through two. What's frustrating about this is you don't have a lot of stuff to hold on to. And that's why I like to teach with a little starter piece before I teach you the first row, because you should be very familiar with what a crochet stitch is like. And now you just have to worry about finding these pesky little holes and figuring out where your next stitch goes. If you aren't having trouble finding these holes, I am so happy for you. You are advanced and doing a great job. If you are having trouble finding these holes, you are pretty much on par with everyone else who is in crochet kindergarten right now. Crochet kindergarten needs to be a fun, positive, relaxing place where we understand that our hands and our brains are just trying to figure this stuff out. And it might be a little confusing, but that's okay, because I have a lot of faith that you're going to figure this out. And like a week from now, you're going to be obsessed with crochet and unable to think about anything else. I'm just kidding. Control yourself. You can take care of your priorities, but you're going to want to relax with crochet. Okay, I've come to the end, and there's my little place where we started. I'm going to look for the one last hole, which is going to be right here. And you really have to hold on to that little knot. Sometimes it's very small and annoying, like right now. And my threads want to separate, but I did it. I got it through. So there's my two. I'm going to yarn over and pull through two. So my friends, that is my first row. And as we go back here and we look at that first stitch, remember I have that one loop and then my first stitch. So that's going to be where we end on the next row. Now we're going to yarn over, pull through for our turning chain, and flip it around. Now it's so much easier to see our holes than it was in that first row. So this is going to be a little simpler. So we already did our turning chain. It's right there. And we're going to go in that hole. We're going to make sure that we're under 2 strands of yarn. We're going to bring our yarn back through to where we have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through. And then we're going to hold this and we're going to be able to find our next stitch pretty easily. Yarn over, pull through. We've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, stitch those friends together. And we're going to continue that down to the very end. Again, make sure this yarn isn't pulling tight because that can be frustrating. So we're going to go in the hole, bring our yarn back through the hole, yarn over, and stitch through 2. There's not enough over here for me to hold on to yet, and it drives me bananas a little bit because I really like to hold on to it and pull so I make sure that I'm in the correct stitch. But we're going to just keep going, and we're going to make another row of crochet because we can do this and we are spectacular capable people. And you know what? If it's getting too frustrating, you feel like throwing the yarn across the room. We've all been there, and that is no problem. Maybe pick it up another day. Just because you've tried it today and you've thought, absolutely, no way, folks. Try it another day. When I am learning a new crochet skill, because what we're doing right now is kind of learning how to use the letter A, how to get out of first gear in a car. This is the super basic, most basic foundational step of getting a crochet piece going. And if you're tired, if it's late, if you're incredibly frustrated, it might not be the best time to be learning. That doesn't mean you can't learn it later. All right, I'm at the end, and the way I know is I have my V, and then I have my turning chain there. So I know this is my last one. I'm going in, I'm pulling my yarn back through the same hole, yarn over, and pull through those two. So that is row 2. We're going to go through about row 4 before I teach you double crochet. It's my favorite stitch. Single crochet is fairly close together. It's kind of thicker, but double crochet is ideal for things like a blanket, something that can have a lot of holes. If you're making a little stuffed animal, you don't want big gaping holes because your stuffing is going to fall out. All right, turning chain, and I'm flipping it around, and I'm going in. When you're making a blanket, though, it doesn't have to be so tight that stuffing can't fall out. So we can take a little more liberties with it. So I'm just doing a lovely single crochet row. What is this, row 3? I think we're on row 3. They make a lot of little gadgets to help you crochet projects, and one of them is a row counter. So you can, some of them you can wear on your finger and you can hit at the end of each row. What I would suggest for that is, if you do have a row counter, if you're working on a project, make yourself a little rule. Like when I'm wearing mine, I only count the row, I only hit the button to count the row after I've made my turning chain. I don't allow myself to hit that button before it, because then I will forget. Oh, did I hit the button for this row? I don't know. I don't really remember. What row am I on? Okay, here is my last V in my turning chain. So we're gonna go in there, bring our yarn back through, yarn over, stitch those two fronts together, and chain 1. That's our turning chain. So this is the last single crochet row that I'll show you. Can you see how my yarn is twisting? How I'm getting this little, oh, what does this look like? Does this look like a little curly cue? So that's pretty normal. Crochet, when you're doing it the right way, it easily will do this. That will straighten out as we get more rows. Or if you're crocheting something long like this, eventually you can kind of lay it flat for a while and it won't curl as much. But if you're making something like a little jellyfish and you want a very curly tentacle, or you're making a doll and you want curly hair, then you can kind of pull it in a twist and it'll stay. So that's fun. All right, going back in for row 4, and I'm gonna work at my pace, and I want you to work at your pace and get very comfortable with single crochet, with how you're going to hold that hook, with how you're going to hold your yarn, with how you're going to remain relaxed while you're doing this, how you're going to let your hands be gentle and not like this, because that's going to stress you out more and it'll make you like your shoulders and your hands sore. I think too, sometimes when people are gripping this very hard, it can make your wrist hurt, it can make your hands sore. So try to find ways to be very gentle with your crochet. If you're feeling like maybe like choosing violence today, if you're feeling frustrated and you need to you know, go throw axes or scream or stomp your feet real hard. Do that, but don't take it out on your crochet. All right. Come to the end of your single crochet. Again, there's my turning chain, and I'm gonna finish this row. Now, my friends, I'm gonna start showing you double crochet. So before we ever do our turning chain, we decide we're gonna do double crochet. I'm going to chain one, but I'm going to chain another one. And here's why. Double crochet is twice as high as single crochet. So we need our little turning chain to be taller. So we're gonna flip around. We're still gonna crochet into that very first hole. But before we go into that hole, we are going to yarn over. Then we go into the hole, pull our friend back through, and now we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through just 2 of those to where we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through those 2. So that is a double crochet stitch. See that? It's a little taller. Let's go. Next hole. We're going to yarn over, go into our next hole, bring our yarn back through. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So yarn over, go into the hole, bring your friend back through. Yarn over, stitch these 2 friends together, and then yarn over again and stitch those 2 friends together. So we're going. These are double crochets, and you can see how in single, that's how big our hole was. In double, it's a taller little fence that we're making, so we have bigger holes here. That helps with draping blankets, like it makes them a little softer. All right, let's talk through this one. We're gonna yarn over, go in through our hole, bring some yarn back through it. We have 3 loops on the hook. We're gonna yarn over, pull through 2 of them, and then we're gonna yarn over and pull through the next 2. Now, sometimes you're gonna do this. You're gonna yarn over and you're gonna pull and you're gonna go, oh no, I pulled through all 3. Just slip that last one back there, untangle them a little bit, yarn over and pull through. That's an easy fix, my friends. All right, yarn over, go on through, come back up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, go into that hole, come back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to yarn over, go in the hole, come back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over before we ever get started, go in the hole, bring back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You always know you're ready to go back through the hole when you just have the 1 loop left on your hook, okay? Yarn over, go on in there, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go into your hole, bring your yarn back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, and pull through the last 2. Yarn over, go on into your hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into the hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This is our last because I can see that turning chain. So I'm going to yarn over, go into my hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, remember when we talked about how the hole is bigger? So this is all my single crochet, and this is double. So the hole's a little bit bigger. It's a little taller. And if you only did double crochet, it's gonna be a little floppier than single crochet. So our turning chain for double is gonna be 2. So there's 1, 2, and then I'm gonna flip. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going into that first hole there. So 1, 2, and we're on. Yarn over, go into the next hole. 1, 2, yarn over, go into the next, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, go into the hole, got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2. So that is what double crochet is looking like. I'm going to go ahead and go at my own pace and meet you at the end. So if you get there before me, just wait for me. And if I get there before you, maybe pause. And then when you get there, unpause, and we can join together at the turning. Double is my favorite stitch. I love it. I don't know why, but it's just very satisfying for me. Single gets very tedious for some reason, but double kind of makes me feel like I don't know, like I'm a figure skater or I'm just twirling or something. It's a rhythm that I enjoy very much. All right, I'm at my last one. And y'all, we're gonna do the same thing. We're looking at the same place. See this here? That is our turning chain. That's where we're stopping. So we're gonna go into this one, come back through, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through those 2. And then we're gonna make our turning chain here, 1, 2, and flip-a-roo. So our first stitch is going to be right here. So we're going to yarn over, go into that first stitch, come on back through, and 1, 2. And we're going to continue down this row. So you continue and I'll continue, and I'll meet you at the end of the next row of double crochet. All right. You should maybe sort of be feeling a little bit better about how you like to hold your piece and your hook and your yarn by now. They make some interesting little tools to help you hold your yarn. I have not found that any of them help me anymore. I have nice, big, fat, squishy fingers, so it's really easy for me to just hold the yarn right here. That may not be the case for you. I know a lot of people like to do like some sort of a double wrap like this. That just makes me confused. So I don't do any of that. But if you find that somebody has a tip that helps you work more easily, I think you just take that tip and you run with it. There's no problem in doing something a little bit differently if it makes you more comfortable. If you find that holding the hook is painful or you can't grip, they make a lot of like foam things that you can put around here so that it's a little softer for you. Sometimes I need a hook that is not metal. I have some weird neuropathy in this finger, and that metal doesn't always feel good. So I can put like a foam pencil holder around this, or you know, anything that just makes it, whoops, I forgot I'm doing double. Anything that just makes it a little bit softer, a little bit easier for you to handle, easier for you to grip. You want to be comfortable when you're doing this particular craft. All right, so I'm at the end. You don't ever really need to, you don't need to crochet into this turning chain hole. That can be a little bit confusing. But when you come to that last stitch, this is going to be a little bit, it's a little less horizontal with the double crochet, but you'll still be able to see it. So that's double crochet. Let's do one more row of double crochet. So 1, 2, and I'm going to flipperoo, and then I'm going to go in my holes right here. So I'm going to yarn over, go in the hole, and get started. And I'll meet you at the end of this one. Double is just really where I get into my rhythm and I feel good. Please remember, I've been crocheting for decades, so if you are not going this quickly, it's not a race. Nobody's gonna win. It's not for a grade. It's not for a contest. It's for your learning, insanity, and creative soul. This is for you. It's not something that has to impress someone else. It's a skill that I want you to learn so that you'll be able to sit down, untangle your mind, and make cute, soft, fuzzy things that make you happy. All right, so I'm looking again. Here's my turning chain, because you can see that this is the last V, right? This starts being not a V, so that is the last one. That's the last place I'm going. So complete that last stitch, and let's take a look at the difference between single and double. So you can see when I pull up and out, you can see how much bigger those holes are. But the double crochet also goes a lot faster. So if you're trying to make something large, the double crochet is going to get you, get your blanket done faster. Really a helpful stitch. It also, I find that it lets my hands move a little bit more, so I don't get as hand crampy. Let's flipperoo, my friends. And I'm going to show you, just when you thought you had learned everything you could learn today, I'm going to show you triple crochet or treble crochet. It's kind of interesting. It's not a stitch that I use all the time, but it is fun. So when we did double, we chained up 2. For triple, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 in our turning chain. And before we go into our first hole, we're going to wrap once, wrap twice. So you have 3 wraps on your hook before you ever go into the hole. Then we're going to go into the hole. We're going to bring our friend back up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your triple stitch. So you're going to twist, twist, find your hole, go in there, come back through, and you've got 4 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over, pull through those first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2, yarn over, pull through the third 2, twisty, twisty, in the hole, right back through, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then twice, go in the hole, come back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twisty, twisty, go into the hole, come on back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you can already see how that's a super tall stitch. All right, we're gonna finish this row. So you're yarning over twice, go on in there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twice, go on in there, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twist twice, go on in, bring your yarn back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twisty, twisty, in the hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twist twice, through the hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Twisty, twisty. Remember, we need to have 4 loops on our hook after we've pulled that yarn through the hole. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twisty, twisty, in the hole, bringing it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twist 2 times, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twist twice, bring it back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twisty, twisty, go into your hole, bring it back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Twisty, twisty. Are we at the end yet? We are. And let's look and I'll show you why. You see how we have this V, but then it just starts being twisty. So we know that's our last stitch. So I'm going to do my 2 twists. I'm going to go, trying to show you, I'm going to go into that last stitch, bring my yarn back through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is triple crochet. And you can see how it's even a little taller than the double. So we have single, double, and triple. What I enjoy about triple is if you're making a little blanket, you know, for whoever, somebody that might like to stick their little fingers or their little toes through, triple's great because you can really get your fingers and toes through there. It's kind of it's a fun little, it's nice to do this kind of at a few rows before the end of a blanket or in a few rows at the beginning because it breaks up your pattern a little bit. But that is single, double, and triple. I'm going to show you one more. If your brain's not, you know, in malfunction mode just yet, stick around. I'm going to show you, it's called a half double, and it's very easy now that you know double. Half double is a cakewalk. Okay, so because it's a double, a type of double, we're going to chain 2 for our turning chain. We're going to flip-a-roo, and we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into our first hole, come back through, and we have 3 loops on our hook. But for a half double, we're going to yarn over and we're pulling through all 3. just all 3 at one time. So you yarn over, you go in the hole, you come back through, yarn over, and you just pull through 3. Yarn over, go in the hole, come back through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that's a half double. Yarn over, pull through all 3 of them. So yarn over, go in the hole, bring your yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 of them at one time. Yarn over, go in the hole, bring that yarn back through, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So you can see, as opposed to single, it's not as tight as single, but it's not as open as double. It's kind of a thicker, taller than single crochet stitch. So if you are looking in a pattern and it asks you to do a half double, that is how you do it. Pull through all 3. Whee! I enjoy half double. It's fun. It's kind of a whee, like you're going through a twisty slide. Double is still my favorite though. Okay, so that's half double and pull through all 3. So it's like you're getting ready for a double, but you go in and you pull through all 3. And this is our last stitch. So we're gonna go and we're gonna pull through all 3. And I'm gonna pull it through so we can kind of see the difference. So this was our double right here, this row, and that's our half double. So it's a little cuter than single. It's a little thicker through the middle than single. Single just is like a little square. Half double is like a little square, but it has this cute little bar in it from when we did the extra. So that is single, double, triple, and half double. If you would like to know more stitches, there are so many more stitches to learn. People all over the internet have stitches. You can get books that have a lot of different stitches, and I would recommend learning some different stitches before you try to learn a pattern or before you learn reading patterns, because if you can learn how to read stitches, it's going to be a lot easier for you. If you had something like this and you were going to make, I don't know, maybe this is the front of a little purse. Maybe you're going to make 2 of these and sew them together. The way I like to finish things off is to just stitch around with a regular crochet. So I'm going to find the first place that I can go in here, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Now this was the triple, so I'm going to do 3 triples or 3 singles in here so that it's the right height. So here's 1, 2, 3, and then this was double, so I'll put 2 in here. So there's 1, 2, and you can kind of just play it by ear, but like there's a hole, so I'm going to put 1 in there. There's a hole, so I'm going to put 1 in there. This is a hole, but it kind of has 2 sections, so I'm going to put 1 in here. And if I just put 1 in here, it might crunch the side up too much, so maybe I'll put 2 in there. So you kind of want to just make sure that you're keeping it even with the stitches that you have, the height of the stitches over here. So there's a hole. Let's get in there and put a stitch. And then this I think is double, so we'll put 1. We'll see if we need to put 2. If it's kind of like a gaping hole, you can throw another one in there, but I think it'll be okay if we don't. I'll put 1 in here, and then I'll put 1 here, and this is just my single crochet. I'll put 1 here, and I'll put one here. And when we get to the corner, this is the corner. And if I just keep going, it's going to make my corner squishy. If I want to make my corner a real corner, I'm just going to chain an extra one, and I'm going to put a single crochet in that same corner hole where I did the first one. And that turning chain will make this little tiny hole right here. Ah. That corner turn is going to make, did I put a chain? I didn't. I told you I was going to, but I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. Let's do 2. Okay, so I'm going to put 2, chain 2, and we'll go in here and we'll do another single crochet, and that's going to make this corner more crispy. See? And then you can just proceed with your regular single, and these are the bottoms. This was our first row, so we just go in 1 down here and do single crochet across. So I'm just finding each of those little bottom strands, and that's why I say when you start, I don't know that it matters if you're in exactly the right hole on that starting chain, because you can always come around and add a border, and it will cover any of those little mistakes that you might have made there. It's very forgiving. You can always add a border. You don't have to, but I enjoy adding a border. It just kind of tidies up the edges. So when I get to this corner over here, we get to decide where the corner is. This is going to be the corner. I'm not going to make this one the corner. So we'll go in here, we'll do one more stitch, and I'm just going to, this is my tail, I'm just going to move it out of the way. I'm going to not pay any attention to it right now. So this is my, well, maybe this is my corner. That's my corner. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to make another single crochet in the same hole that I just made the previous one in. And that gives us that little corner. And then we'll turn and we'll say, okay, this is our next hole somewhere over here. Sometimes you just sort of have to make it up. You get to decide where the next hole is. You'll learn as you go that nobody's gonna ever get up in your crochet and inspect it and tell you that you went in the very wrong hole on this edge of the border. And if they do, you might find a gentle way to tell them that you don't need their input, that you're doing this for your sanity, and they can go crochet on their own if they'd like to. You would love for them to join you and sit and crochet with you. But, you know, keep your thoughts about my piece to yourself while I learn. Thank you. All right, so this one's a little tall. Maybe I'll put 2 in here. 1, 2. And then there's a hole. There's a hole. And this is the 3, so I'm definitely putting 3 in here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then this was my half double. So let's make that the corner. So I'm going to go 1, chain 2, and then 1 in that same hole. And then I'm done. So, well, I don't know. I guess we could go across here with one more row if we wanted to, but we already have a clean crochet against the top of this. So now I'm going to do what's called a slip stitch. And that means I'm going to take my hook, put it through here, pull this through, but I'm not going to crochet. I have the 2 loops. I'm simply going to keep pulling that loop through there. And that means I'm done. Now I'm going to chain 1 in here, pull this way up so that I have a knot, and then I'm done. So this is kind of just a little try some stuff project that you have, and you can keep it, or you can just completely unravel it and try some more crochet. But I hope that you are going to move forward and try again. And like I said, don't get too frustrated with how slowly you're going or that you're not getting it. You might just be a little bit sleepy. You might just need to try again. So if it's not working out for you right now, that's all right. It doesn't have to. You can always try again. I am glad that you spent all this time with me. This has been a pretty long video. If you haven't fallen asleep by now, congratulations. And if you have, sweet dreams. I will see you next time. Bye, my friends.